Welcome back to the Igniting Your Dynamic Self show. I'm your host, Wendy Bjork. Thrilled to connect with you today as we navigate this extraordinary time together. If you're new here, welcome to the heartsofwellness.com family. And if you've been with me on this journey for a while, thank you for continuing to show up for yourself and our community. I have a question for you. What does self love look like to you? Maybe a spa day comes to mind, maybe a bubble bath, a long weekend away. All those things are lovely. They're really some of my favorites. But what if self love was something quieter than that? Something that happens not at a day spa, but at 2 o'clock a.m. when your body's exhausted and the voice in your head is still running through everything that is wrong with you. What if the most important act of self love you'll ever practice is simply the way you speak to yourself when no one else is around? I did not know how to do that for probably 30 years. I want you to go back with me for a moment. Think about what it felt like to be 15. Everything already feels like too much. Your body is changing, your world is changing, and you're just trying to figure out where you fit in and hoping nobody notices that anything too closely. Now imagine on top of that, something starts going wrong inside of your body. Not dramatically, not all at once, just quietly, persistently, something wrong. You wake up one morning and your vision might be blurry. You question yourself. Are you just tired? Probably just tired. And you ignore it. Maybe one of your legs feels heavy. You might walk a little funny. Maybe you're just growing or you overdid it and you ignore it. You end up in the nurse's office again with another migraine, and the other girls in there are looking at you sideways because they're faking sick and you're clearly not. You go to the doctor doesn't have any answers. Chronic illness is slippery that way. It does not always show up cleanly on a test. It does not always have a name. And we are trained not to question that. We are taught you go to the doctor's office if you want an answer. So when the answers do not come, most of us do the only thing we know how to do. We decide something must not be that bad. And then we keep going. That was me at 15. My body was already setting the stage for what would eventually be diagnosed as MS or multiple sclerosis. And I had no language for any of it. I only knew one thing: do not make it a big deal, just keep going. I want to tell you who I became in the years that followed. I became a warrior, a silent warrior. I went to college with numb feet and heavy legs and laughed it off when people asked why I was walking funny. Denial is very functional when you're young. I got married, raised 2 little boys, became the top performer at work, kept every plate, every ball spinning in the air. My coping strategy was peanut M&Ms, bagfuls of them, all day long. Until one day, my dentist told me I was ruining my jaw from the clenching, from the stress, and the peanut M&Ms. So I did what anybody would do is I switched to Reese's Pieces. Every time I left a difficult appointment, I went straight back to work. Every frightening result, every moment the doctor said something that took the air out of the room, I walked back to my car, went back to my desk at work, because stopping felt like losing. Here's what no one tells you about being in warrior mode. You never would talk mean to your car for running out of gas. You would not call it weak or tell it to try harder. You would simply stop and fill up the tank. Yet most of us drive ourselves to empty every single day and wonder why we cannot go any further. That is not strength. That's survival. And there is a difference. My neurologist eventually told me something I did not want to hear. He said if I did not change what I was doing, I would end up using a wheelchair. I don't remember much of what he said after that. I just wanted out of that room. He wrote a note to cut my hours at work. My boss was not thrilled, and eventually he told me to take the summer off. That summer, I ended up in the library with my 2 little boys, and as I watched them wander the aisles, something shifted. I looked at those shelves and thought, there are entire books full of answers my doctors never offered to me. I started asking different questions. What is actually overwhelming my nervous system? What am I exposed to every single day that might be making this harder? That curiosity led me back home to the laundry products, the candles, the cleaning supplies, the everyday things everyone assumes are safe. I made some changes and I started noticing that I had fewer migraines. When you live with migraines, one less can change everything. But the biggest shift was not in my environment. It was the way in which I spoke to myself. We know self love is not just about a spa day or a bubble bath, but they are not the work, even though they can be nice and relaxing and lovely. The work is a decision to stop hustling and start tending to yourself. It's learning to speak to yourself the way you would speak to a friend, not the voice that runs the scoreboard, the voice that says, I see you. You are doing the best you can. And that is enough. Your nervous system does not respond to force, it responds to safety. And safety is not complicated, it's built in the smallest, most ordinary moments. Here's what I want you to take away from today's episode: three things. They are simple. First, learn to breathe on purpose, not the automatic kind, not the intentional kind. One slow breath before you react. This is a signal to your nervous system that you are safe. Second, pay attention to what is overloading you: the products in your home, the noise, the pace, the movies, the music, the stories you are telling yourself. What is silently making everything harder for you? Then, third, press your feet into the floor right now. Feel the ground beneath you and offer yourself one kind word. Just one. The same word you would offer a friend who is struggling. This is where it starts. Not with a program, not with a protocol, with a decision to tend to yourself the way you would tend to somebody that you love. I spent 30 years staying quiet about my story because I thought silence was protection. What I finally learned is that silence was just keeping me stuck. The most radical thing I ever did for my health was not push harder. It was to stop. It was to stop fighting my body, stop fighting my story, stop waiting until I felt better to start living beautifully. By speaking to ourselves mindfully, by showing ourselves kindness in the way we live, we can create the life we want. You are not broken, you are not behind, and you have not missed your chance at a life that feels good. Until next time, this is Wendy Bjork from heartsandwellness.com, reminding you to be kind to yourself and to ignite your dynamic self one holistic step at a time. See you next time.